Welcome to the Are You Not Entertained podcast. We are your hosts, Infamous and Trice, where we give our unfiltered takes on gaming, movies, tech, and everything entertainment. If we feel it's relevant, we've got an opinion on it. Are You Not Entertained? And we are back with another episode of Are You Not Entertained podcast, episode 4. Let's go and get right into it. We have Breaking the Ice. That just happened. Did you catch that? Is gaming / entertainment getting too expensive? E3, the dream that died with the gaming industry. Let's go and get started. Breaking the Ice, the Silksong debacle. So, Trick, I'm just going to go ahead and start it. What the hell is happening in gaming? Everyone who plays any games know what Hollow Knight Silksong is, how long people have waited on it, and
7
it's currently
years.
blowing up. It's currently blowing up right now. People are happy. People are loving the game, little ups and downs here and there, but there are people, developers, influencers, and regular folk who really believe that there's a problem with the pricing of Silksong. I'm going to break it down. They're not upset that it's too expensive. They're not upset that it's inaccessible, but you have people literally saying that they charged too little for such a product. I can't believe my ears. I can't believe I read it. I can't believe I heard it. You
Flabbergasted.
have people complaining in the year 2025 when games are upwards of $80. That's your fault, Nintendo. And above with deluxe editions, collector's
Ugh.
editions, when they're trying to milk us for every nickel and dime you can find under the couch. And there is a dev team, Team Cherry, shout out to you by the way, who put out a product.
Shout out Team fucking Cherry for standing on business. Let's fucking
Standing
go.
on morals, who put out a product not once but twice and charged a relatively reasonable, and instead of praise, well, no, I'll take that back. They did get praise, but not just praise. They get backlash because they charged. I'm gonna kick it over to my co-host Trice. What you got for me on this topic?
Listen, it's so we just living in crazy times right now. Cause never, ever would I had thought we would be discussing a topic of people complaining. And I just want to reference this. It's not people. It's a lot more devs and companies that's doing the complaining, but it's still some people complaining about a game being too affordable, saying, "Hey, you gave us too much for that price." I never could have pictured something like this happening. Like if this was a trivia question, oh baby, I would have got sent home. I wasn't moving on to the next round because, like, listen, I wish I could say that about all the games I buy. This is too much value. Oh my god, how would I make it on tomorrow? Because I have so much stuff to play for $19.99. Yeah, we in crazy times, man. Just a little synopsis, and I just find this interesting, and I put it at the bottom. This dev quote, of course, it's an anonymous, but he said that he's worried Silksong set an unrealistic bar because Silksong is a massive quality indie sequel, but was at a budget price, which could make it harder for other indie studios to justify higher pricing. So, in layman's terms, these devs are saying, "Hey, you're undercutting us. For that, you should have charged 30, 40. That not no 19.99, baby. Because when we release our game with half the quality and half the value, and we gonna release it at $30, $40. We gonna look stupid." When I say this game got the devs set, when I say they probably getting all type of calls at the company, mad letters, and the fact that a dev even went on record of saying this just shows you how grimy the gaming company is, even on the indie side. So if this is happening on the indie side, do you already know it's happening on the AAA side? But shout out to fucking Team Cherry. It's something about them cherries, boy. They stand on business. That's all I'm gonna say about them cherries. This is just a crazy thing to have to report on, especially when so many times I find myself saying, "Hey, these games suck. We didn't get no value." The whole Anthem debacle, Madden, college football, all these games where you don't even get the value of $60, and then they turn around and say, "Hey, it's not 60, it's $100, it's $80." Like, what value am I getting for the cost of a game going up $20? Because you already wasn't giving me what I asked for. Now you gonna ask for more and give me less? crazy. But shout out to Silksong, shout out to Team Cherry for standing on fucking business. That's what the fuck. I wish I could report on more devs doing shit like this. Cause baby, listen, I'll put a segment in the show every week if more developers was doing stuff like this. This is amazing. And they standing on business and they taking a backlash on the chin and they not phased at all.
But not even just the audacity of that one dev. There was another one who was part of the team that put out a recent game called Hell Is Us. And according to this dev, he feels that it was irresponsible of Team Cherry to release Silksong at its price because it will ramifications in a sense it will have on other devs, indie quality and AAA, and how consumers should not expect other companies to produce such a product at such a price. And it was callous of them to release that game without giving forewarning to others, because now, some teams move their game away. They chose to put theirs out, and they feel, that their game may be negatively impacted financially because of this. But I have this to say to you. All you're doing is saying you are releasing inferior product if you feel your game cannot compete, because Team Cherry and no dev studio is beholden to worry about your bottom line for your product. Because if that's the case, then are any of you all calling out Rockstar Games and Take-Two for Grand Theft Auto 6? Because the last time I checked, when they delayed GTA 6 to next year, every studio took a big, because before that announcement was made, there were hardly no release dates or announcements for games for the later end of this year, 2025. When they delayed that game and said, yeah, it'll be next year, everything was coming out now. Everybody's willing to put their stuff out and everybody's willing to go, because now, if you paid attention, and we'll get into this later in our next segment, every top end or AAA-esque game you want to call it, all of them are trying to come out before May of 2026. We've heard no announcement of anything coming out of June or later on, or if it's past May, it's in 2027, because GTA 6 will kill the gaming market. Not be played, wives will be ignored, girlfriends will not be entertained. But my whole thing is, you all have the gall, the audacity to come at an indie studio who just wants to make good game. When did that stop being a thing? Good game. You come at an indie studio about this. Do you all do this? Like I said, are you all calling Rockstar and getting on them? Are any of you all calling Activision, Call of Duty, and how that soaks up a good market share? I don't hear any of this for the big boys, but you want to be so humble and come at the little guy. The
Listen,
little guy who put out not only a good product in the first one, I'm going to say this out loud, they gave DLC. The original Hollow Knight had, I believe, 4 DLCs that came to it, and they were all free. And the only reason Silksong exists is because when they were going to release that for free for the original Hollow, they said, you know what, this is too good. Too good. We'll make it a full-fledged game and give you more. And all they asked for was $5 more than the original. In our quote-unquote macroeconomic troubling times, with inflation, the T word, and everything else, they just raised the price by 5. I think that says a lot to the gaming industry as a whole. And you, sir, Mr. Dev of Hell of Us, took out
listen.
a lot of me.
Imma get a little aggressive just 'cause, you're not gonna come at Team Cherry like that. Yo, it is not my concern. Whatever your company is doing and the position that you're in and whatever situation you're, it is none of my concern. Because if I was in a mess up position and if I was down and out and if I was struggling, no one give a damn about me. So why should I care about you? And the only reason why you even got your whole little feathers in a ruffle is because you feel like this is gonna cost you money for an inferior product. But baby, and let me say it for the people in the back in cheap seats. The elephant doesn't move for the fly. The fly moves for the elephant. You know why? because the bitch bets to get out the way or that elephant is gonna crush them. I think these devs and all this uproar, I think you should put your head down, go in there, get your team up right, and get your weight up in the gym, basically. Don't stop doing all this complaining about this team cherry and how they did it, how they was in the position to make it 1999 because they're indie and they have so much recognition and this, that, and the third. Get your weight up. Get your weight up in the gym and then come step to me. And like I said, you're the fly in the situation if you didn't know already. You little dev complainers and anonymous dev quotes. You're the fly and Team Cherry is the elephant. So if you get crushed, Team Cherry doing what they do, that's your fault. That's your fault. You made that company and you chose to make the game that way and price it that way. That is on you. So anything Team Cherry does is of none of your concern. Go to the gym, get your weight up, bruh. All this hoopla and all this in the news, like, get your weight up. Make better games. Don't fluff your price. You really trying to be on par with AAA for an indie game. Like, you're not that far off, even right now. Like $40, 45. Like, y'all keep trying to creep up. And I like indie companies. Indie companies, 9 out of 10, make better product than AAA, in all honesty. But for you indie companies that is trying to arm wrestle and put shock fear into Team Cherry. Team Cherry developed Silksong for 7 years. And after 7 years, they still was like, hey, 1999. Doesn't matter how long it took us. Matter of fact, Team Cherry made the game, made it that price because they didn't spend that much money on development. Not saying they didn't spend money, but I'm saying their expenses are a lot lower than all of you other indie studios because they have control over everything. Unlike you have to answer to somebody. All they got to answer to is, hey, we want to make the best game at a reasonable price. How can we do that? That's the only thing they answer to. And therefore, Team Cherry needs to be celebrated. It's kind of, listen, if you ain't on Team Cherry, fuck you too. That's all I got for that.
Not even just that, but we've talked about indie games and indie studios on this show before, and they are just another shining example, ass whooping that they're giving AAA and how indies are really pushing it. But I just want to add, Team Cherry is made up of three, and even though it took them a while to make Silksong, they did it because one, it took their time, their expenses was lower, but they're also regular Joe. I believe one of them, even still after the success of the first game, selling millions and making millions. One of them still stays in their same quote unquote regular apartment. He did not up his life and get extravagant, extra expensive things just to say, oh, well, I need to charge people more to keep up this lifestyle. He humbled themselves. And AAA needs to do the same thing. You had indie devs saying, well, how can I charge $20 for my game now when look at theirs? Okay, well, charge what you want to charge in all honesty, but if what your product is that you're putting out is inferior or not, it will reflect in the sales. It will reflect in the masses because as we have reported before, the consumer, the fans in the stand, they're money stingy now. The wallets are closed. The checkbooks are not being opened. No one's Apple paying anyone anymore. You all have pushed and pushed and pushed. And the standing goes, vote with your wallet. That's what everyone is doing now. You want to put out slop? It'll sit there like slop. I think Team Cherry did. It took a while. Hey, most great things do take a while to come. But phenomenal job. The industry as a whole, needs to get their shit together.
Definitely hit the comment sections. Let us know how you feel about Silksong and the pricing and all the backlash they getting and hate they getting from devs. And like I said, the game is not perfect. Like the game has its own little quirk issues, but Team Cherry is still by consumer for consumer mindset. And I think that's what's setting it apart. And I think that's why it's gonna be in the history books. Like Silksong, the success of it, the story of it, even their last game, like they'll be itched in history forever for taking a stand against the norm. Cause it's real easy to just do the normal thing that everybody else is doing. It's really hard to go out on your own and stand up on that island by yourself. It's very difficult. And yet Team Cherry has done it, and I think they deserve all the praise. So definitely let me know below how you feel about Team Cherry in the game and the success. And
moving it right along, we're going to start with That Just Happened. And this week, there was the PlayStation State of Play. Sony gave us us a glimpse of upcoming titles for this year and next. And I'm gonna get right into it. It was kind of
Yo, listen, I know people that's listened to past episodes of like when I talked about the Nintendo thing, the Apple thing. Yo, this was another fucking snooze fest. I didn't nothing they announced gave me the little twinkle. Like, the closest thing that kind of made me move the needle was Wolverine. And even then I'm still looking at it sideways for, my own reasons, but this was a snooze fest. But I'll let you get into the details.
I can say for a fact the state of play was there was remasters,
Mhm.
more remasters. There was some old shit, some unimportant shit, and one new thing. Even though we all knew about it because it leaked, and I was excited for Wolverine. Seeing the little bit they show, it put an ease in my heart. This game will be M rated. Oh, thank God. Marvel Spider Man is not M rated. Spider Man, in a sense, is a more family friendly approach to
Mhm.
superheroes, which is probably why he is, like I've stated before, the number one superhero as far as. But I'm going to get into some of the games, some of the highlights. If it wasn't for Wolverine and Crimson Desert, which I am looking forward to that game. Very much looking forward to it. Comes out next year, but it's early next year. Okay.
It's March
But
19th.
they March 19th, and I want people to pay attention to that release date, that March. I want people to pay attention to
Yeah,
a lot of games
it's a little
coming out
packed in that
next year.
March.
Yeah,
It's
the
it's
beginning of next year is packed pretty heavily, and there's a reason for that, but we'll get to it. They first showed off new gameplay and footage of their new game, Seros. You want to call it a sequel or a successful predecessor to Returnal from PS5, and it looks nice. It's a very nice looking game, and that's about as far as I can get because I don't
Yep.
understand the appeal of a rogue-like game. Now, it is a third-person shooter, and we all know Infamous. You love some third-person shooters.
Yeah.
But I have a gripe with playing a game, unlocking, progressing, moving forward, and I get killed and you take it all away from me and I have to start back from scratch. That
You
bothers me. I've never understood the concept of that, and just but it is something new in the sea of remakes, remasters, and re-releases. It is different. It is different. So we'll give them that. Zero Paradise. It was a little indie-ish game. Okay, I'm not trying to shit on it. I do love my indie games. It wasn't something I expect out of a state of play. That could have been a PlayStation blog show off. A Microsoft Flight Simulator. I mean, do I really got to say anything? It's in the name. The Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's coming on PlayStation. It's just another Xbox game coming on PlayStation. So yeah, Battlefield 6. That was very impressive graphically. It looks nice. They showed off the campaign for it with constructability and everything, but it wasn't gameplay. It was trailers. That's no different than any movie coming out. It's a trailer. Almost everything we saw might not even be in the game. It's just showing enough to make it look nice.
Mhm.
Talking to somebody who went to film school, I know a trailer is to get asses in the seats. Once they got you, it's whatever now. The DSX remaster, I wasn't impressed. Wasn't moved at all because once again, a remaster, which is a detriment to this industry. I understand remasters are a little bit faster, easier, and cost effective to put out, but my stance on with these games, they're only as expensive as you all want to make them. So I wasn't moved. The Halloween game, but Halloween is in a long line of these fucking asymmetrical licensed multiplayer games. And for whatever reason, I don't know why they keep making them because they all fail. And when they fail, or the license expires, the game is pulled. It's delisted, it's pulled. Majority of times they're digital only. So once it's gone, like a bad step parent. And I don't know why they keep trying to make these work. It didn't work with the Friday the 13th. It didn't work with any of the other ones. Why are we still doing this? Last Epoch, I don't know what the hell that is. A dungeon crawl RPG. It looked nice. Again, it looked nice. That's one thing I will give gaming with all these high ass budgets. You do make these games look nice. I give you that. We'll see what happens with that. Seven Deadly Sins Origins. I ain't gonna lie. I know everyone is a little tired of the open world stuff, but I do love me a good open world RPG. And I am a fan of Seven Deadly Sins, the anime, the manga. So okay, this tickled me. It flustered my nose hairs. I got a little bit excited. A Sonic racing game. I'm not gonna say more than that. It's a Sonic racing. This ain't no different than a Mario Kart in my eyes. Dynasty Warriors 3 remastered. Another fucking remaster. I did my homework on this one. Apparently, this is the Dynasty Warriors game that really got the ball rolling, really got the training. So I guess this is people's favorite. So I know there was a blunder with Dynasty Warriors 9, it going open world and everything. New one they brought in kind of brought things back. So I guess they're saying, let's make sure we reel the fans in. Let's let them know we're caring. Let's give them an old favorite. After that, Cold Vein 2, a anime Souls-like game. I'm all about the masochistic beatdown difficulty as. So this was interesting. Let It Die Inferno. I'm gonna ask the audience right now, do you all remember the first Let It Die? Because when this aired, I only asked why. Creme de la creme of the show, Crimson Desert, but I am biased. I'm heavily looking forward to this game. I believe this game will do what The Witcher 3 did and set a new standard, a new high bar of quality for
Oh, oh,
action
oh.
adventure / open world games. But I will give this caveat. Everyone who's covered or seen this game have all had the same opinion. Can this game truly pull off what it is showing? From what I understand, there are a lot of mechanics, from the control scheme to the everything you can do in the game. Some feel it's a little too much.
Oh
Will
Lord,
it be
no
able to pull off?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, will it be able to pull off all what it's trying to do? Because once again, hey, in the trailers, but that's what a trailer is supposed to do. So we'll see about that. Sony made new hardware. They made computer. I'm gonna leave that there. They made speakers for computers.
Listen, and I want to preference that too. I don't think PlayStation does any accessory items good. I know they just recently had the wireless headphones come out, and even our friend in our group chat, gaming group chat, he got some, he loves them. All right, cool. Like one, but like I just feel like they're 1 in 871 on a record board. Like I don't like any of PlayStation's accessories. So this wireless speakers did not move me. And I just want to briefly talk and shit on Sony for that goddamn God of War 20th anniversary controller. What the fuck was that? Listen, listen, if you ain't seen what they announced you and then and how they did the little trailer where it was popping out, it was some old rock dissipating and it was popping out and I was like, okay, okay. Okay, and then it showed its full thing, and I was like, I'm still waiting because I'm thinking there's still something gonna pop up on the controller. That motherfucker is just a white controller with some red highlights and a red stripe going down it. And it was like, good enough. Listen, Sony, baby, I can make some bomb ass controller designs if you just pay me half of what you paying whoever designed that bullshit. Listen, my 10-year-old nephew could have designed something better than that. What the like? It's like they don't care about the accessories and the look, and they just it seems like they're not in tune with the consumer on what they want. It's just like, oh, you want a black controller there. Oh, you want a white controller there. Even the limited edition, I remember LeBron had a controller and it was just his name scribbled in some other crap and a quote. And I was like, that's it? That's it? Sony does not do accessories well. I'll be really curious on the sales of these speakers in that controller, but I think it's hot garbage. But I'll let you continue.
I couldn't agree more. This is an area I say has Sony beat.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Those Xbox Live controllers, set aside the limited edition controllers argument for a second. But the fact that Xbox literally lets you design your own controller down to the minute details. If that ain't consumer friendly, I don't know what is. But that controller was, I don't know.
It was hot
And
garbage.
the fact that someone walked in with the idea, got paid, and someone else's boss took it to his boss and was like, oh yeah, for the 20th anniversary of one of their flagship IPs, they're gonna sell this. I love the whiteness of the white in it, Carl. Yeah, and the red stripe is just like the stripe of his body. That's what I said. I love this. I don't understand, but the rest of the show, they announced PlayStation Plus monthly games.
Mhm.
Not bad, only because the Alan Wake 2, which I believe they finally broke even on that game. I think it's been a few years, so okay, not a bad lineup. Some Gran Turismo 7, whatever with that. I'm not going to linger on to it too much. Not huge into racing games, but the two that I am on care about, Gran Turismo and Forza, they both have gone the live service route. So, and finally to end it, they showed off Marvel's Wolverine. Now, quick story time. Marvel's Wolverine had a massive leak a few years ago. I believe Insomniac as a whole, entire company had a data breach and they ransomware. They wanted some money. Sony was like, no, we're not doing that. So they leaked everything. There was leaked gameplay footage. I think some people were recording saying they were able to play early leaked builds of the game. But there were a lot of people skeptical about seeing where the game would go. There was no news. There were no updates, anything of it, which I completely understand. Why I want to talk about a product that got leaked, it stole your fanfare. But I was happy. They showed the old school yellow spandex suit.
Yeah, yeah, the one that old boy never wore in the movies.
Right, they showed the aggressiveness. It looked like Sabretooth was in it, who, if people don't know, that's his brother, according to the
Mhm.
lore and Marvel, X-Men, yeah, etc. And it hit all the bells. It didn't show enough, in a sense, to me. Took away the doubt. Okay, but now show me why I need to buy this at full price when it comes out, and not wait for it to be $40 or $20 on sale, which it eventually will, because that's what Sony does with their products, and it is a single player game. Between this and Crimson Desert, like I said, it wasn't all that. As everyone tends to do, I gave it a C. How do you feel about the state of play,
Oh, well,
Treese?
listen, I'm giving it the same grade I gave the other shit. It's a snooze fest. Like, outside of Wolverine, nothing moved the needle for me. Not even, and it's just like they really trying to, like, I felt like they was trying to beef up the show, announcing The Last of Us Part 2 remaster being added to the game catalog starting. Actually, it's already out now because it came out September 26th. And they talked about some premium classics, Tekken 3, Soul Calibur 3, Tomb Raider anniversary. I just felt like they was trying to like, hey, what can we put on the docket? We need to fill this time with something. So yeah, it sucked. It didn't make me excited or nothing for any of these games outside Wolverine. And Wolverine made it just because it was M rated. And if it wasn't M rated, that was gonna be a dumpster fire. Yeah, it was a snooze fest. Unimpressed, unamused.
And you know what? To add on to like what you were saying, somewhere behind the scenes, look like, hey, you know what? What can we put on the docket? And we need to fill this time slot. That goes back to what I've stated before about Sony wasting so much of this generation and years on their live service approach, and that they need to let that go. There are many ways to do live service, and clearly they were trying to go for the worst, scummiest ways of them to just generate that quick, hard, fast cash. But you don't need to do that. Stick to your guns. So to do what you do. If the margins aren't big enough, then you hit your creative teams. And I'll give a pure Ghost of Tsushima launched 5 years ago. And afterwards, they added a little thing called Legends, a co-op mode with story missions, a raid, and etc. Can make that your live service. You gave it out for free. You had added things to it. You do cosmetics, some drip feed of missions, and more things to do to it. People will play. See, the problem is no one has problem with live service. It's how you all do them. You take us for granted. You think we're stupid. While the casual market just doesn't have a problem throwing away their cash, even they are waking up to this. So I just want to add on to it. That's probably why it felt like they were just throwing stuff out there. Just to, hey, this is what we got going on. But we can move on from there. Like I said, nothing special on the state of play. We can get into Did You Catch That? And on this week's Did You Catch That? We're talking about the Tokyo Game Show 2025.
Fucking snooze fest too.
So, as my
All this shit
co-host put it,
all this shit put me to sleep.
as my
Alright.
co-host put it, we can start off with Xbox. Wasn't impressed. Again, there was one thing that stood out, and we'll get to it. They showed off Ungrave Gorn, Blood Heap. Very nice.
Mhm.
Once again, a third-person shooter-esque game, and I believe the Gungrave series has been going on since PS2, if I can remember correctly. Last time I remember, at least remember playing it for the first time, and it was nice. It was interesting. A new Double Dragon game, Double Dragon Revive. I love me a good beat 'em up, classic brawler, co-op to it, something to play with the kids. But Yeah, is this really something you want to show on the big stage? Or could this have been a blog post? Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly remake. I want to throw it out there. I'm all for the horror, and Japanese horror is something completely different. Regular horror. It's a little bit fucked up, but hey, I'm all for it. But it's another remake. Moving on. There was more Fallout 76 content. I just did not care. I don't play that game. And Fallout 76 was a mistake. It was a studio trying to tap into a market they had no business going after. And after many years of course correction, have made it somewhat palatable for some consumers, but most of us, most real hardcore Fallout fans. Monster Hunter Stories is coming to Xbox. A lot of them games did not come there for a reason. And I'm not a fanboy of any of these platform holders. Microsoft's forgetting Game Pass, forgetting that Xbox players don't generally buy a lot of shit in the digital stuff. We're gonna move past all that. Xbox consumers generally have easy, readable market, and these Japanese oriented esque games, they don't sell well on that system. The Xbox audience does not buy them generally. That is why majority of the time when these games come out and go around or whatnot, they skip the Xbox, and you don't hear any Xbox fan crying or wanting like, hey, why did this anime game? Why didn't it come here? That's just not their bread and butter. So to hear this coming, it's like, oh, okay, well, there's another audience that can play it. But I also understand why when these trying times and games are getting expensive. Okay, we'll put it on the market. There might be some money you might retain, but they showed Hotel Barcelona, a 2D side scroller made from the people who made No More Heroes and Deadly Premonitions, and I don't know why they showed it. They didn't really show much of it. I was unimpressed. It looked basic. And that sounds bad, but I'm just telling like it is. It just looked basic. The Dragon Quest 1 and 2 remakes, more remakes. But at the same time, I'm somewhat kind of forgiving of this in a sense because when these came out originally, I was probably too young or just went around when they played them. So it's something I can play into. But more remakes. Actually, let me change my tune. Project Evil Bane. This looked good. This looked good. The trailer, and they actually showed, so I'll give them this. This looked good. It was slated for 26 for Xbox PC and 27 for Xbox. But at this point, then why the hell are you showing it if it's 2 years away? But it looked like a co-op ARPG. I'm all about the co-op, and I love me a great RPG. This looked good, and that's the best I will give it. It really had me like, oh, Ninja Gaiden 4 series is back. They redid 2, brought that to PlayStation, and 4 looks very good. Also coming to PlayStation. And there was recent news about them talking about they added difficulty modes to it and accessibility features. For everyone who's not, a crazed sycophant masochist who just wants to get punished consistently, you just want to unalive some people and have a good time, you can go ahead and do that. So, it looked good, and they showed trailer and gameplay. They showed Call of Duty. And at this point, who really cares? Who really cares? We all know every year a Call of Duty is coming, even though, what was it, 2-3 years ago? I think it was Modern Warfare 2, when they were saying they're going to stop. They were truly, truly diluting the series, and they weren't going to do a game every year. Somewhere, I guess someone must have forgot about that. Whoever made the announcement, he probably got fired. And
Yeah,
his emails
cause
were,
the shareholder said, "Bitch, we want our money every year. Shut up."
because that game just keeps coming out, and we're going from Black Ops 6 to Black Ops 7. That should tell you
Jesus.
they are truly scratching the bottom of the barrel of that game. But I will not give Call of Duty any more attention than what it needs. And the one true announcement from their segment was the Forza Horizon 6. It's going to Japan, which is where people have wanted it to go for years. But it was just, if you want to call it a trailer, you can call it that. I call it a teaser. There was really next to nothing shown. It was just footage, and it ended with Mount Fuji or whichever mountain that is in
Mhm.
Japan. And that was it. Unimpressive. And then a side note here, just a quick run through of Capcom's game, Pragmata. Hey, I'm waiting on this. Another third person action game. I love me third person shooter. I want to see my character. The work in game devs, first person, I feel is lazy. All you're showing your hands and a gun. And if the gun is even detailed enough. But they showed off Pragmata, they showed off gameplay, they broke down some mechanics and things of the game. A Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection. I don't know what these games are. I've never heard of them, never seen them before. I'm sure there's someone out there for them. There's a market for everyone, as there's someone for everyone in this world. Street Fighter 6 update announcements, collabs. I don't care. I don't play fighting games anymore. The fighting game community, and please forgive me, but you all take these games way too serious. Moving on, there was Resident Evil news, info about 9. 9 can be played in first person or third. We may look into that. Older games are going to come to the Switch 2 in game key card forms. Nintendo, I give you a lot of attention and time on this show. We're not going to do it today, but I'm just going to repeat this one more time. They're coming in game key card forms.
Crazy.
Anywho, and they closed it out with Monster Hunter Wild info.
I was looking at the list and I was following you as you went through. It's a fucking snooze fest, my guy. 007 first look game.
You know what? I didn't.
Yeah.
But you know why I didn't bring that up?
Why?
They've shown that on its own separately already. They had a PlayStation maybe like a week or so ago. They showed off 40 minutes of gameplay going through everything on its own. So I didn't understand why that was shown. We already know about that game.
Yeah, and that's releasing March of 2026 too, in that crowded month. It's been a long time since I played a 007 game. I might look into it just to see if it's about anything, but that was the only thing that kind of raised my eyebrow, just because
I'm
it's
just happy it's a third person
oh yeah.
007.
Yeah. You know, I'm a third person gamer, and like we play first person, but I do it while gritting my teeth because I don't like first person. But yeah, 007 first look was the only thing that kind of did anything. But I also want to talk about the handheld device they announced. So did I feel like they didn't confirm a price on the show, but so are these leak prices real or is this just estimation?
I
And
can
this
go
is
ahead and
coming
say this.
out next month. Like it's not that far away.
I can go ahead and say this 100% definitively. The Xbox ROG Ally, the white
Such a
one. Oh, that sounds
weird
bad.
name. It's a
Yeah,
weird
that sounds
name.
bad. And the Xbox ROG Ally X, the black one. God, will retail MSRP. The
Uh-huh.
white for 600 and the black for 1,000. I
Oh,
will not do.
shut
I
the
will
fuck!
not do
Get
that
the fuck out my
9.99
face!
99 thing.
Get the
Yes.
fuck out my face, Xbox. You stop playing in my fucking face. I fuck Xbox once again. Fuck Xbox. $1,000 for what? How much is Steam Deck right now?
The Steam Deck on the lowest model is 400, which is also on sale right now, and the high end model is 6 or
Yeah, suck my
650.
dick.
I can't remember.
Yeah, get the fuck out my face.
Now
So,
people are arguing that the
eh,
black one it has so much more power and etc. It can maybe probably run games a little bit better and beefier than the Steam Deck, but that does not matter.
nah, I don't give a damn about that. $1,000. They
And
really. Ugh.
I'm gonna give a quick comparison. I know hardcore PC players, you all want your graphics cards, your 4090s, your 5070s, and etc.
All the numbers.
But all the numbers, they don't mean anything. It's the same guy that walks onto a dealership and buys the V8, and then the next guy comes and buys the 4-cylinder, crossover. They both still get you to the same golf game. They're both 4 wheels and an engine.
It's still gonna take you to work every day.
Yeah, and I just got to go on a quick segment here. These PC handhelds, they are really starting to get out of hand
Out
as
of
far as
fucking
pricing.
hand.
Now, there's been some argument that the reason Valve have made the Steam Deck so cost effective, that it is not a measure of good consumer practice. It's because that plan is to lose money on the device, but once you have the device, you are brought into their ecosystem, which then you will spend tons of money and that they will make all that money back. Okay, that's great, but my whole thing with that is that's all what console gaming is too.
Yeah,
The
that's all.
golden rule
I was just about to say that.
The golden rule of console gaming is you lose money on the system to get them into your ecosystem and you win money on the games and accessories. Every
Mhm.
game sold on, Xbox platform, Microsoft gets a 30% cut of that game, whether it's disc or digital. Every game sold on PlayStation, they get a 30% cut. And with Microsoft being in the shitter for Xbox hardware sales, and there are some people saying, oh, well, they raised the price of the Xbox to push you the the handheld costs more.
Yeah, that
It
that
costs
that's
more.
what's crazy. How is the handheld more expensive? How can you justify that?
If you're gonna buy this handheld at $1,000, you might as well just buy you a high end PC, which will
Yeah,
do more.
yeah, more for your money. I don't get it.
That handheld, I don't know what they're smoking, what they're
It
thinking.
must be some good shit.
But at the same time, Microsoft didn't even make it. Microsoft was supposed to be making their own handheld, and then they chickened out and said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to focus on making Windows 11, better for the gamers. That's a crock of shit. They didn't want to put the time, money, and effort into it. So they went to a company and said, hey, you're going to make something. We're going to pay you to help make it, and we're going to put our branding on it, and we're going to say it's
Mhm.
ours, which is no
Mhm.
different than them buying up all these companies that make good games and then saying, hey, we make this good game. You don't know how to make shit. You don't know how to make games. You don't know how to make hardware. Went off on a
You
little
sound like
tangent
a
there.
parent yelling at
But
their child.
and walked
Wait,
away.
but
It was a
quick
grand.
question, quick question, quick
Quick
question.
answer.
So for the consumer whoever this is for, I'm not even sure who they made it for. But for the consumer that is willing to spend $1,000, do they already have an Xbox or is this just an isolated thing for them? Cause I'm not
That is a
spending 800 for the console, then 1,000 for the hand. Like Xbox can all the way in the gutter for me. Get out of
so
here. And then
so that's a great
mm-mm.
go ahead. I'm
Mm-mm.
sorry, go
No,
ahead.
I was just thinking in Game Pass on top. Get out my face. Stop playing with me.
So that's a great question. And before the show started, Phil Spencer, I'm sorry. Get my names mixed up here. He talked about more places and more options to play Xbox games. And they had that little campaign that they were doing for a while where they showed, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, your TV is an Xbox, your phone's an Xbox, etc. This is for, I guess, for them to say, hey, you can play Xbox games on the go. You are no longer beholden to constructs of the console and playing it at home. But I'm just going to throw something in here real quick. There's a huge caveat. Microsoft and Xbox is not talking about these handhelds. These handhelds are doing something similar to what Valve does with the Steam Deck, whereas Valve, they have unknown, playable, and verified for how a game will work on the handheld. Microsoft is doing the same thing as far as, I can't remember the verbiage that they're using, but the problem is only somewhat recent titles are playable on this device. So if the game was not designed from the ground up for Xbox's quote unquote play anywhere initiative, it won't work or not won't necessarily run on it. They can't guarantee you
For a
that
thousand
the
dollars, you can't
for a
guarantee.
thousand dollars. But see, that's why, and it makes sense now why Gears of War Reloaded was made because they couldn't guarantee you the 2006 version worked on $1,000 hardware, so they remade it and charged $40. But hey, you can skip that $40 and you just pay us $20 a month for Game Pass Ultimate, and then they can guarantee you, oh, this works because we made sure it worked. That is why they're going with it. 360 and Xbox original games, from what I remember in the interview when I'm talking about it, they either can't guarantee it or it won't play or won't work on that system. And right now, like I've clearly stated, people are running back to their older games that are more feature complete. Already have all their updates, cheaper, whatever you want to pick. D, all the above. And when they keep marketing showing out the device, they're not talking about that. Also, I don't know if you have to be constantly connected to the internet for this to work.
Mm.
I know Game Pass games, if I remember correctly, if you're disconnected the internet, they either don't work or you have 30 days to play it before it just locks you out of it while the system is offline. So how is this more portable and more on the go if it's bound to being constantly connected? That's something I don't
Mhm.
know, but yeah.
Fuck Xbox.
Microsoft, what the fuck are y'all? Your flagship system is 650, which is absurd because your sales for the system are in the tank. They're in the shitter. You raise them again, and now you release a quote unquote Xbox handheld, and you can customize it this and these processors and needs and etc. But it's $1,000 hairs. It's $1,000. The whole initiative of handheld PCs was to make quote unquote a handheld, but have it around the cost of to bring console people into the realm of PC, but still let them be comfortable enough as if it's a console, because they're not going to buy the $2, $3, $5,000 PCs. That's just not happening. That's why the Steam Deck was so appealing to me, because I'm not going to make a 5, 6 grand PC just to play games at 120 frames per second, which the human eye can't truly really distinguish like that. But at the same time, PC games are being unoptimized and running like shit. Bring it back, Infamous. I'm sorry, bring it back. So I don't I don't know who that handheld is for, but I do want to say this since you brought it up. At this current time, Xbox has reported that the black one, the ROG Ally, the $1,000 one, it's sold out on the Microsoft Store website.
Well, they did a limited production just to get market engagement, so that's not shocking.
That's true, but I want to add this. I don't know if it's sold out due to high demand. This is the dark side of our entertainment, or if scalp,
Oh yeah, because they was running rampant during COVID.
because it may be sold out on the Microsoft Store. You can go and buy one at Best Buy on the Best Buy website right now. And if you check your local eBay listings right now, the black one, MSRP for $1,000, there are people scalping it on eBay already for $1,800 to $2,500.
Yo, have several seats, sir. If you don't get out of here,
Oh,
like,
have at it.
let's fuck Xbox. I feel like I say that every week, man, but fuck them.
I feel Xbox and Nintendo, you all
Yeah,
continuously
they
give us
they
the
love to
juice.
piss us off.
Oh yeah, they keep giving us the juice to sell to keep this dream alive. But have at it.
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
But
hit the comments below. Are you spending $1,000 on the Xbox handheld? And if you are, just tell me some reasons why. Like, are you going away from a PC? Do you have an outdated? I just need to understand what makes $1,000 Xbox handheld appealing. I mean, I know our friend in our group chat was saying that specs, the this and that. It's really not that crazy. It crazy to me. It crazy to me. So let me know what you think, if you agree with us and your thoughts on this handheld and the Tokyo Game Show in its entirety. Was it a snooze fest or was it everything you was expecting? Did it surprise you? Did it disappoint you? Or did it put you to sleep like it did me? Let us know below.
is that all you got for the Tokyo Game Show? Anything
Yeah,
else catch
yeah.
your attention?
No, no,
Appeal? Oh,
no, 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 no. I listen to 007 and I was curious about the price of the handheld. That's all that fucking was like, "Huh, I
he
wonder."
said nope, nope, and nope.
Listen, and
Well,
it was funny, I will say this is what I'm gonna end with. It was funny watching the show, and as they bring up all these games, at the bottom it says available on Xbox, Series X and PlayStation. I just thought that was hilarious.
oh yeah,
Everything pretty much
yeah.
everything they announced had all platforms that listed at the bottom. Fuck
Absolutely.
Xbox.
It was even, this is how I know there are certain people at Xbox that still feel some type of way about this, them becoming a third party publisher. Because I believe for the Forza Horizon 6, it just said Xbox
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
PC. But
Mhm.
they came out later and said when it comes out, it launches on Xbox and PC. And then it will be later moved to the PlayStation. So they believe, for whatever reason, if we just keep it to ourselves, for 6 months, a year, whatever they try to do, we'll garner some goodwill, then we'll put it on PlayStation. It's all the same. It's still coming. What is the point in delaying it if it's still gonna come?
Yeah, I
But
don't know. Make him feel better,
that's
I
all I got.
guess.
All right. So let's get into our next topic here. Is gaming slash entertainment getting too expensive? And how that affects the casuals from the hardcore. So I'm going to start this off with a few topics and subjects we've already discussed. But entertainment, it costs, depending on city, state, she shed, whatever you live in, about $20, maybe $30 a ticket to go to the movies. A video game, we all know they're upwards of $80 or more now, depending on version, early access, deluxe, digital deluxe, collector's edition, dumb consumer just spin edition, and it's getting a little out of hand. Mario Kart World was $80, and people have really tore it apart, saying like, it's very lackluster as far as content, the way it was designed, everything, even the system as itself. I will go on record and I would tell you, I swore to high heaven that when they were showing it off and they were talking about it, E3, where they fully showed it off, the Switch 2, I was like, yo, it's going to be $400. It's going to go from 300 to 400. That's how Nintendo rolls. Nintendo is the inexpensive. They go for family-friendly approach. Their graphics are very soft. It sounds insulting, but, it just is what it is.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
that's just how they do. When that motherfucker came out and they said it was 450, I'm like, what? You might as well make it 500. The accessories, Joy-Con 2s are $90 for the pair.
That's
Everything
ridiculous.
it's expensive. PlayStation raised their console prices. Xbox raised their console prices twice. Nintendo chose to raise the prices on the original Switch and accessories rather than raise the price on the Switch 2, which I
It
ain't
was
gonna lie.
already
They, they,
overpriced.
they should have just raised the price on the Switch 2, because you want someone to pay $400 for a Switch OLED, but the Switch 2 is just $50 more. And they have went on the record saying and showing every Switch 1 game does not necessarily run perfectly or will run on Switch 2, except
That
of course their first party
that's
game.
insane. That's
Oh,
insane.
yes.
What the
There
fuck
was
do
a
you
whole
mean?
chart, a whole breakdown that every Switch 1 cartridge does not necessarily may work and or fully run on the Switch 2. There was a whole breakdown of it. Now, of course, their games will run and work, first party stuff, but any and everything else, it is not guaranteed. And they were saying they were going to keep running tests and doing this and that. Now, I know Nintendo fans, you're going to come at me. You're always barking, ragging on Nintendo, Infamous. Why are you doing this, etc. From PS4 to PS5, all PS4 games did work on PS5. And you know what? You're absolutely correct. You're 100% absolutely correct. Sony came out and stated that there were 10 games from PS4 to PS5 that did not work. And if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, they gave reasonings and examples why, whether it was extra hardware, the way the game was designed, whatever the case is. It was only 10. And I believe the 10 were games that no one really gave two shits about. It wasn't nothing serious like a Call of Duty, a Grand Theft Auto, an Uncharted game. It wasn't nothing serious. It was some weird shit, and when the list came out and it was $10, no one said anything. No one was like, oh, that's unacceptable. No one was bitching. None of that. Everybody was just like, oh, okay, well, that's understandable. The Switch 1, the Switch 2, it's cartridges. And as far as I know, they're the same fucking cartridges. They just changed the color and increased the capacity. They're the same fucking thing. This goes into what they were talking about before the system came out. That the reason of this is Nintendo went cheap from Switch 1 to Switch 2, but wanted more money. That Switch 2 emulates Switch 1 games. It is not native hardware inside of it, which is why, hence, every game does not work and or run well. So that's one issue. But my core breakdown of this topic is the ramifications this expensive trend that gaming and entertainment is going on. I'm gonna do a quick story time. Before gaming became the mainstay and media giant that it is now, you go back to the 90s, you play video games, you were a nerd, you were a geek, you were an outcast, people made fun of you. Hardcore gamers is what sustained and held the market. I don't know when it shifted. Grand Theft Auto probably had a hand in doing this, but the hardcore market determined and held down gaming and entertainment. Just like moviegoers, you have people who will go out and see majority next to all movies because that's their thing. That's their bread and butter. They held the market down, and then probably somewhere around maybe 2008 with Iron Man and the MCU starting up, everyone was going to go see movies, because they were every fucking where. The hardcore market, we introduced the casuals to the great shit. And now everything getting so expensive. You can count on your hardcore market to an extent even Microsoft, I'm going to keep doing this to you. Even Xbox, whatever their next console is, the hardcore Xbox enthusiasts and fans, same with PlayStation and to some extent Nintendo. We'll get to that later, another time. The casuals are not that dedicated. Casuals go to what's hot, what's relevant, but also what they can. It's a reason why they're casual. Attention span is smaller. Their grasp is shorter. If everything is so expensive and they have other options, which they do, you don't have to buy PS5. You can go buy a PS4, and that has thousands of games for you to go play. You can buy a PS4 Pro for maybe like what $200, and then walk into any disc replay, GameStop, eBay Marketplace, Macari, or whoever, and grab you. You can take $200 and probably get like maybe 50 games, if not more, depending on the game, how old it is, the condition, loose, complete in box, whatever the case may be. Pricing constantly going up, and you don't have the mass of the casuals to feed into this. A collapse is going to happen. As my co-host stated, that R word is going to happen. You're going to make it to where you're going to out the casuals, and if the money don't come in, the creativity and the drive to push for new and more, that goes down because gaming has become too big to just be supported by the hardcore. Same with movies. Your casuals not going to movie theaters like that. Why? When in 3 to 5 weeks, this movie that you want me to pay $20 for a ticket, overpriced drinks, and shitty snack bar food that's overpriced as well, I can wait 3 to 5 weeks and watch it at home for the same price I'm paying the subscription for and be comfort, order a pizza, smoke a cigar, and relax. And it's going to be bad. There's no way in hell the accessories for the Switch 2 or any of the Nintendo's recent endeavors, the Mario Galaxy bundle, there's no reason in hell that should be $70. There's no reason that console should be $800. The regular being $650 or whatever the hell it is. There's no reason. Sony, you already revisioned the PS5 and made it smaller, reducing the cost of material. So why did that need to go up? And then you got rid of the big bulky one. So how did that price go up? The greed is killing entertainment. And it's going to have a longing ramifications on it, because if you don't have some sensibility, some stability in the casual market, what is there for the hardcore to feed and promote? Because then even eventually the hardcore will, I'm going to go buy me a 360 and play these nice old school games that I missed out on. And that's about 260 is what? Maybe $80, depending on the model, maybe 100 on the version. Their games, if it ain't something obscure or a licensed product, which drives the scalpers to drive the cost up on it, prices are next to nothing. We're already seeing it. There was an article that was saying, I don't know, forgive me, I don't keep up with this shit. Whatever current generation it is now of young people, the 2 generations past millennial, the alphas or betas, I don't know what the hell they're called, but they're saying that they're spending less money, and they're either going to old ones or they're just like, you know what, fuck this. They're spending less money because you're pricing them out. This is too expensive. Hell, most of them can't afford games at all because hell, most of them are in a bad job market, but they ain't getting hired to make money. They say millennials, they make up 34 to 60 some percent of the market share of entertainment right now because we are the breadwinners. Slippery, devastating slope that is and will continue to happen unless they get their shit. I'm gonna kick it to my co-host Trice. What are your
Yeah, so this kind of really ties back for my statement about the game companies selling and projection of the gaming industry for the next 10 years. I think obviously they're gearing up for something, and they have a very dark outlook on their financial ability to make more and more money each year. But let me just recap everything. Gaming costs in 2025, it's the most expensive it's ever been in gaming history. Xbox has an $800 console. PS5 had a mid-gen price hike in most markets, if not all around the world. Nintendo feels comfortable charging $70 for first party titles, Pokemon and Mario Galaxy bundle, breaking the old standard of $60. And then games themselves, AAA titles, they think they can have $70 as a baseline, and that quickly goes over $100 for the deluxe edition. They feel like they have that right. And indie games, they're creeping up too. Like they trying to get $30, $40. So gaming is most expensive ever been. And let's not even bring up, but as we bring up live services and microtransactions, so those games that's already 70, $100, you probably gonna spend another 70. I mean, most people 70, $80 on expansions, DLCs, and any cosmetic stuff that they nickel and dime you. And that's gaming. So let's go into entertainment. Streaming services over the last 2 years have seen prices raised 10 to 20% multiple times from these different streaming service holders. So and that's just in the last 2 years. Like Disney Plus, they just announced some new updated prices, and I was like, God damn. Okay. I remember Disney used to be $4.99. It's definitely not $4.99 no more. It's far from it. Movie theaters, IMAX, all the premium seating and recliner seating, even ones without those seatings. Tickets prices are pushing $20 to $25 a person. Then you add popcorn, drinks, and all the other shit. It's almost $100, 60 to 70 to $100, depending on how many go see the movie, just to watch a movie. Subscription stacks, like, the gaming got their own subscription. Then you got the Disney Plus and all that other stuff. Like, it's exceeding cable prices. Over $100 for if you want most of these things. And then you gotta add Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, Nintendo Switch Online, and then whatever else you got going on. Like, it's the most expensive this stuff has ever been. And like you said, it is pricing the two lower generations out of the market. They can't afford it. The unemployment rate, at least in the United States, there's more unemployed people than there are jobs listings. Like, that is a real thing. Not only is people not working or have the ability for job income, you're gonna then tell them, hey, spend $100 here, spend $100 there, spend $1,000 for a handheld. That don't go together. Just the economics of that doesn't go together. I think this goes back to my point of saying this is why a lot of these big game companies are selling and they're gearing up so they can at least stay relevant and keep their head above water, because they just know a bubble is going to burst. And you either going to be on the left side or the right side. But either side probably is going to take a financial hit no matter where you go, because it's just inevitable. All the writing is on the wall. They say recessions, they come every 10 to 20 years, and you can look at it, we're long overdue. And then plus all the financial ramifications from COVID and all them lower interest rates, and people are now for getting their loan called because they're not making payments, they're not paying taxes. A lot of stuff is pointing, if you look at the numbers, pointing to a crash. And I'm not saying it's '08 crash. I'm just saying it's due for a reset. All markets do it. Gaming markets do it. And no market is immune to a reset. So gaming costs is just out of hand. Entertainment costs is just getting out of hand, and people are really, really looking at their expenses like, hey, two options. Either I make more money or I spend less money. And how the economy is, as far as the US, I can't say anywhere else in the world. Your ass ain't gonna make more money. They get more and more stingy with raises and things like that. So you can't go with get more money, make more money. Left with was lowers your expenses. That's just basic adulting. That's the only two options you have. And when you start having to pick and choose, like, hey, which subscription is gonna go and which is gonna stay, you're gonna have to get some hard choices. I feel like, listen, the next 3 to 5 years is gonna be very, very interesting. It could be very turbulent, and you just gotta hold on and hope that you can weather the storm. You and your pocketbook can weather the storm, because I do believe the reset is coming. Like I've stated, not to keep saying the same thing and beating a dead horse, but entertainment industry and the gaming industry, they better buckle up, because it's about to be a wrap. If my predictions are to be true, we about to be on a wild ride, and it's gonna last a while. It's not gonna be quick. That's all I got.
I want to add to that. You brought up a good point. Not getting more money, the stinginess of corporations and paying. It's funny that you mentioned that, because what they're also doing, there are record layoffs at
Oh,
these
yeah.
corporations across the board. But you know what's really fucked up? You got to work 3 times as hard to try to get a
Oh, yeah.
raise
Yeah.
or any of this, and they're laying off people left and right, and especially with the AI coming, but they're making record profits. When Microsoft laid off 9,000 people, they have been making record huge swaths of money. And we're not just talking about revenue. So this is after all expenses. The same with Activision Blizzard before they were purchased. These corporations are not our friends. They do not care in the slightest, but they
Yeah.
are making.
But I think that goes back to what I said. If you know hard times are coming, you got two options: make more money or lower your expenses. And like I said, I think these companies are gearing up for a reset. So therefore, they saying, "Hey, we got to lower expenses, get these people out of here. We already put money in AI, so that shit should pay off sooner rather than later, and we can probably have AI do it a third of the money of this guy's salary." And then you do that across the whole corporation, you probably looking at 20, 30,000 jobs that's going to be just X'd out because of AI and because you got to lower expenses because the reset of the market is going to hit. And when it does, both of us is going to need a little savings account to make it through the turbulent years. So I just think that it's all connected. The AI and yeah, so hold on to your britches, baby. That's all I can.
Hold on to your britches. Yeah, I wanted to touch on this segment because not everyone is as blessed as we are with careers that allow us to spend and buy and do as we please. I can buy any AAA game or go see any movie as it comes out, and this is not to flex, this is not to brag, that is just my economic living situation. But everyone is not like that. I have played video games since the Game Boy, since I can remember. I have watched movies since Disney VHS tapes
Oof.
and probably more before that. Entertainment is my way of coping with this world, and to see people being boxed out because of greed that will play a huge, significant downfall in these corporations and everything. And for whatever reason, people are not understanding. It is us, the consumers, that allow these corporations to make this money. If everyone truly, it's including you, Nintendo fans, if everyone truly banded together and said, hey, this Switch 2, you need to get your shit together. We're not doing this at 450. You would have
Hey,
seen the
they kinda
humble.
they kinda did it at
Oh,
for Borderlands 4. Yeah, I told you it takes a lot for gamers to start talking about boycotting, but,
oh yeah,
they starting to draw a line, slowly but
they
surely.
are, but no. This is the point I was trying to get at. If they would have did this sooner, you will see the humble Nintendo you saw at the 3DS launch that took the system from 250 to 170 because it was not selling. I take that back. That is starting to happen. Amazon, I can't remember if it was a tweet or an announcement that they had that you no longer need to have an invitation, a ticket, or whatever the case is to buy a Nintendo Switch 2 on Amazon app or .com. You can walk into any store right now and buy a Nintendo Switch 2 product. Or I'll give you one good one. You can go into eBay and look at the prices for Switch 2 systems from scalpers. They're selling them at MSRP or maybe $50 more just to cover the cost of eBay taking their percentage of the sale. The Switch 2 ain't selling, baby. It will not. And you are hearing it here on Are You Not Entertained? From Infamous himself. The Switch 2 will not do the numbers of the Switch.
It's already
It
not.
will not. No, no. I'm gonna throw it out there because you have the naysayers, you have the Nintendo sycophants who will pay the $50 for the amiibos, do next to anything. I mean, they literally made physical DLC. If this was Sony or Xbox, motherfuckers would protest. I gotta buy a miniature statue to do what in the game? Nintendo made physical DLC. Hell, it's so absurd. GameStop takes amiibos for trade-in. That's how crazy that shit is. But if it was anybody else, there'll be backlash. But if you truly stick to your guns, you can humble Nintendo because it's happened. The 3DS did nowhere fucking near the original Nintendo DS numbers. Hell, the original DS caught up. It is the only system that caught up so close to the PS2. Everyone thinks like, oh well, the corporation, and they did it because of this and higher quality. They make a product. If you don't like it or it don't sit well with you, do not buy it. They're not your friend. They're not your best bro. They're not none of that. I don't understand why consumers don't understand. Like you said, it's happening slowly but surely because Borderlands 4 is indefinitely delayed on the Switch 2. Yes, Borderlands 4 has sold two and a half. It sold 2.5 million copies. Trust and believe me, it could have did better. It could have sold 5 million at the time of this
and
video.
and people
It
are
could have
getting
done 10, as
refunds.
big as Borderlands is. It could have done significantly much more. But because they want to be bullshitting, as I stated before, the problems with Borderlands 3, they're still there. Viewers, people in the comments, as this video airs, if you have Borderlands 3, let it take all its updates and let the game load and tell me if it still stutters right when it initially loads in. Tell me when you hit the inventory screen to go to your backpack or any of those menus, does it still, sometimes the frame rate drops significantly. It still does that. 6 years on better hardware, it still does that. Truly crazy. But they're starting to make a turn. Consumers as a whole are starting to get it together. Don't let up. Don't let them sway you with their cheap promises of, I'll change, I'll do better. It's like that boyfriend, who just can't keep a job. But because he went to one interview, he's like, I'm changing. I'm changing, baby. I want to see results before you come lay back on this couch.
Buckle up. It's gonna get crazy outside. Soon,
Oh
listen,
yes.
and I think we gonna be in a wild ride for a while. Honestly, just looking at the landscape.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be something interesting to see whether it be as far as the actual games themselves collapse, hardware, let's the subscriptions, something start to show and change. When it does, remember you heard it here on Are You Not Entertained, baby? Let's keep it
Yeah,
rolling.
yeah, but
We're gonna move into oh go ahead.
definitely hit the comments below. Let us know if gaming is still affordable for you and your household, or is it already too expensive and you've kind of had to let the hobby go? Because I'll be very interested in what the comments have to say about this topic. But like you said, we are fortunate to have some careers that allow us to play games. But I want to say this: my cousin buys a lot more games than I do, just because I'm not here for the foolishness. So I'm already selective, and like I've said in the past, I reward certain companies when I feel like I get the value of the said money they're asking for. So I'm already very selective in what I buy. I'm not playing because, like I said, I do work in finance, so I am very cost forward thinking. You got to work to earn my money. Just like them streaming services, just like the movie theater, these games got to also earn my money too. And I don't give my money out freely. I'm not in the business of just giving away money. Let me know in the comments how you feel. I'll be very interested to hear everybody's feedback on this topic cuz I feel like this could be an issue that lasts for a while.
We're gonna move to our next topic. It's a very sensitive one. For the
Ah, the good
longest,
old
as I can
days.
remember, when gaming was right, when movies were actually there to entertain you and not try to give some political message or whatever the case may be.
Oh god.
When just everything was better. There was a little thing called came every summer, and every summer, me and my cousin, we would watch it and just be, oh man, do you
Looking
see
at
that?
stuff we
The press conferences showing them new hardware, games,
Mhm.
gameplay, everything. You had motherfuckers skipping school to make sure they could be at home for E3 because see, on one day you had the
Yep.
press conference
Yep.
that
Yeah,
broke down the
yeah.
real shit. The real shit. Like you missed that press conference. Hey man, you should have luck because when the articles were going reported, they didn't show or have everything that was from that press conference. And then the
Mhm.
next couple of days was just interviews and gameplay and stuff. But E3 was the shit, baby. And I remember for a lot of our young years, we always dreamed, man, we gonna get older and we gonna go to E3.
Yeah, cause it'd
And
be some
sadly,
years where it'll be open to the public, and then some years it'll be closed, so it was if you really went to E3 during those years, you was really doing something.
but then sadly, little thing called the pandemic happened and E3 went bye-bye.
I kinda feel it started to go down even before that. Once the
It did start
companies
to go
started
down.
doing their own, like, state of play, they was like and n not to cut you off, but to cut you off, E3 was so significant while growing up because of how serious the gaming companies took it. They knew this was their shot, broadcast across the world that hey, we got some shit cooking. It's coming at this end of the year. This is it. So they used to come ready to swing at they was coming out swinging, and they was like how I complained about the PlayStation state of play, how it looked like they was just looking for things to fill time. If you was at E3, you knew everything that was in your time slot because you only had so much time to present. You needed to come with the best you got, and you bet not miss. When I say watching E3, we was so judgmental. I remember that E3 used to be the place where you found out the new system's price points. Like
Yep.
that's where you will learn how much this next generation of gaming is going to cost. And then I remember it being a race of like who presented first and how the other company that would come after will lower the price right on the spot just to undercut you. Like it was just a lot. I feel like the companies took it a lot more serious. They were a lot more competitive with one another, and they was fighting over gaming real estate. They was trying to plant their flag for their people and who was going to basically fund them for the next 2 or 3 years. So E3 used to be a lot more serious. It was taken serious by the community. It was so much coverage. I remember G4. They used to be really. It was a whole spectacle. It's really unfortunate, but I get it. It's just the times. Like people, rather than putting on G4 now, probably listens to a streamer that Twitch games and do all this other stuff more than they would do G4 channel as a whole. So it's just consumers are digesting information differently. I still stand on the fact that what made E3 so good back in those days is the companies taking it serious, where they was literally trying to beat one another at that conference. Each one would have their own day and they'll give their best swings, and that was just like halftime. Then in the second half, the one-on-one interviews, they really out here shading the other company like, hey, we made this game, it does X, Y, and Z. Don't it look good? Don't our things we offer is next gen. I remember when Xbox said, hey, we done with that memory card shit. Game changing. So it was just so many big announcements, and I feel like E3 needs like a documentary because it gave a lot of gamers like myself who was really young at the time a lot of memories that I'll never forget. And not to sound all emotional, but it was really a time you had to be alive, and therefore, like even listening to this now, if you didn't grow up during that time, then you just cannot relate in the feeling that E3 gave its viewers at the time. But yeah, that's all I got going down memory lane for E3. But look, I know I cut you off, but I'll let you continue.
No, 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 no. I couldn't have said it better. You were absolutely right. Because nowadays you have some of this shadiness shit where Nintendo shows off Nintendo Direct, they show off the new system. You gotta wait either the next day or whenever. One-off interview, they said, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be $450." What? You said $450?
A
Why didn't you
thousand
put that
dollars.
whole thing? Yeah, why didn't you add that in the video? And you are right. Towards the end, it did start to die off. Nintendo, they backed out. Nintendo
Yeah,
did start doing their
yeah,
own thing.
yeah. PlayStation
And
stopped
then
showing
it was
up.
just Microsoft and Xbox, and then I can't. I actually do remember it. It was that year when Sony wanted to be special. They had that guy playing the flute, and they were moving people from tent to tent. Trying to do something unique. I think it was they were trying to promote Tsushima, do something different. Culture, show you people truly creativity, and everyone was making fun of them and shitting on them and all this, and they're like, you know what? Fuck you people. You all don't deserve what we're trying to bring. And it slowly, as time and technology went on, it slowly is unalive. And we have other things going now. PlayStation does their state of play and their game showcase. Nintendo does their directs. And Microsoft has the Microsoft Theater that they do their whatever the hell it is that they be doing from there. But it just this does not hit. I'm gonna take it back and I'm gonna give Xbox some credit. E3 was similar to Microsoft's Summer of Arcade when they used to have those certain indie games that they would pump out. You can get them at deals and promote, and it was like the start of summer because in
Mhm.
the gaming sector, you didn't have a lot of games that came out during the summer. That was strictly for the movies. That was for the movies. Summer was the summer blockbusters. Summer is when they used to prep everyone for the fall season. Hey, you got this new game coming out. You all remember when they showed off the original Modern Warfare 2 and they showed the multiplayer trailer, how they truly upped it from Call of Duty 4 to Modern Warfare 2. Everyone was, oh shit. Those were moments you truly had to be there for. They were, oh my God. Now, whatever the hell, when summer comes, it's like, oh, that came, oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. You got the Summer Game Fest, which we get into that later. It's a topic for another show, but it's unimpressive. It's unimpressive. And it's been replaced by the shills, people who are in the industry who, they're little buddies, like, hey, I give you this for this little bit of airtime. It's just not the same. E3 it wasn't just for the companies. It also was for the consumers. Because at one point it was open to both. I can't remember what happened. Then they took it away and it was only just the corporations. But then they realized, like, hey, we're only making so much money off of this. Then they brought it back. And it was slowly for journalists and business people. And then they brought consumers back. And I was like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna have like the first, I think it was first 1 or 2 days, conferences and the devs and everybody else. And then the next 2 or 3 days, then we'll let the audience in. They can have their fun. They can buy exclusive swag bags, plushies, merchandise you only could get there. You got hands-on footage with a game before the game came out. You were able to talk to the developer who was humble to get feedback. Not just now, you tweet at them like, hey, well, your game stutters. And they like, and everyone's gotten too comfortable with the internet age and saying some slick shit or not doing something when you say something to them. And that's like, oh, well, I ain't got to do nothing. You bought the game already. You didn't have all that. You ain't had none of that. Like, and then when it went away, it was just this void. Now I understand was a factor because I think the ESA, the Entertainment Software Associates, when they the ones who lobby and run the video game sector and E3, I think they were charging them like millions of dollars for the floor space, building the booths, and doing all that. When PlayStation / Sony don't get big dick money like Xbox, where this is just some shit they just write off. Even Sony and Nintendo were like, yo, why are we paying you to show you a game when we can just control the narrative and how the game is shown our way? And to an extent, I get that.
Yeah,
I
but
get
I can see what you're saying, like more in recent years. But like I said too, E3 was the place where you made your announcements, and once that started to go away, it no longer made sense to pay that large number to be there because, like technology is different and things like that. So as E3 became less and less important, that kind of was its death sentence in a sense.
Yeah, it was. And I guess maybe I just missed the flair.
I do too.
Because like
I
you
do.
said, you had corporations really coming at each other. Yeah, we made this game this way, not like that other guy's game, where
Yeah.
you can do this, and you're like, damn, he said
Yo, the
that.
shade, the shade.
The shade was there, everything. People really, I think
I
we all took it for
remember
granted.
I remember the E3 after Xbox had the little red ring scandal and PlayStation had made some type of comment and saying, "Hey, you can trust that our systems will work for X amount of years without a problem." I said, "Damn."
Yep,
It was
those were
just
the
so
moments.
many funny moments and memories that I'll just never forget. I remember Nintendo announcing the Wii U, and everybody was like, "What the fuck is
What?
that?" Like, it was so many things where them companies really thought they did something special in the consumer, and that was another reason why too they started letting public back in is because when they was doing these announcements, right? These businesses and just people from the corporations themselves, they will announce stuff that is major and will have no noise come for the crowd. So it felt very hollow. And that's why they brought the public back because they was like, nah, we spending this much money to be here. We need the crowd's reaction to entice the person that's watching on TV. I remember that was a whole thing. somebody needs to do a documentary on E3 and just really do a detailed timeline. What a wild ride E3 was.
I remember, and this goes to show how humble these companies used to be. I remember when the PS3 was shown off, and it had that whack, ugly ass boomerang controller, and everyone was like, "Yo, what the fuck is that? What is that?" And Sony was just like, "Well, we redesigned. Why did you redesign? What is this shit?" But this also goes to show just how people don't know what the hell they want, because when they pivoted and took the PS3 controller back to the PS2 design, when the PS3 came out and the 360 came out, and everyone was raving, just, oh, this controller is so ergonomic, just fits in your hands. And then everyone was shitting like, oh man, I don't like the PS3 controller, because of this and XYZ. Like, well, they made it the same way as it was on the PS2. You love the PS2. Well, yeah, I had a PS2. Okay, then so what do you complain about?
Mhm.
How quickly they shifted from that, because when they showed it off at E3, I was like, yo, people hate this shit. We
Mhm.
gotta change it. We can't change it, Phil. We're about to get ready to mass produce these. The system hits in X amount of months. Oh well, it ain't hitting no more. No one wants this shit.
Yeah. So many last minute
That does
changes
not
came
happen
from
nowadays.
E3. Yeah.
Or I remember when the Xbox One, let alone we're not even gonna get on the whole 360 quote and all that. When they kept showing television, crowd cheering just got lower and lower and lower. And then when they announced that price at $500, there was just such a sort of like low of clapping. It was like, yo, shut the fuck up. Why are you clapping? Well, I thought we had to. No, nobody want that goddamn price. Then when PlayStation went, and they were like, hey, you can play your games, you can give your games to a friend, you can buy used games, and oh yeah, it's gonna be $400. Everybody was like, what? Clapping. It was a thunderous applause. Get a little video, a blog, updating. Like, hey, everyone teach their own excitement. You can't gauge the way the consumer takes or feels about the product on a major scale at that moment reaction, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? You have to
Mhm.
wait until it hits, and then it's not being sold or whatnot anymore, and it's like, because I remember me and you, we used to always talk like, yo, we get older, we gonna we gonna fucking go to eat. We're gonna save up
Mhm.
money for the plane ride. We're gonna save up money for the fucking hotel. We're gonna sleep in our cars. We have to. We're gonna go. We're gonna get to that magical moment, and then we became adults. We made money, and now they tried to bring it back. They said like, hey, we're gonna make it an all digital event. Okay, well that's no
Yeah.
different than what the State of Play and the Nintendo Direct is. Well, that's not what E3 was. That's not what it's about. How you gonna get somebody to? How you gonna charge someone something for something that's digital? And then here we are.
Yeah, but
Just
definitely hit the comments if you grew up on E3 and what was some of your most favorite memories. Cause yeah, E3 raised me in the gaming world, and I've had to let it go at some point. I had to just say it's over for E3.
sadly, we all did have to let it go. Do let us all know. How do you all feel? Your thoughts? What were some of the best enjoyments you had of E3 when this all was going? Drop those likes, comments, share your thoughts. All right, so now we're going to move into our last topic. As always, just as we start the show, we're going to end it with our tech talk. As I lead, she closes it out.
Yeah, so on this week's Tech Talk, just a few things. And I didn't want to bring up Apple, but Apple found its way into this news cycle for me. But first up, there has been an update on the TikTok sale. The United States president did sign an executive order approving the U.S. deal, and I kind of looked at the details, kind of because the U.S. valued TikTok at $14 billion, and I was like, "What
Wow.
is TikTok $14 billion worth of?" But the entire executive order is to set the sale of TikTok U.S. operations and to meet the U.S. requirements. It's to sell in 120 days. The deal must be finalized in 120 days. They valued it at 14 billion, so that's pretty much the price they're saying they're willing to pay. And there has been no word or response, at least publicly, of Chinese approval yet. So the deal still needs approval from China to go through, and they've been kind of radio silent. Now, that could be a negotiation tag, or they could really just be like, "Why do we have to sell the company because of some guy's opinion?" But yeah, so that's an update on TikTok. And I think I remember because Biden administration was trying to ban TikTok, and when
Yep.
the other guy came into office, he signed something to extend the negotiation periods and let people still be able to access the app. But it was so funny when it first met that deadline. It was like, "You're out of there." My aunt does nothing but have TikTok playing, and she was so lost for I think it was off for like 2 days. She was just like, "What do I do? How do I occupy my time without TikTok?" So, I mean, maybe 14 billion is not that crazy, or maybe it's worth more than that. I don't know. I'm not a TikTok person. I don't I listen, outside of YouTube, it's nothing else for me. So, TikTok is just not it's just not my thing. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Is 14 billion crazy, or is that actually a bargain? And maybe it's such a bargain that China is not even responding because it's just like, bruh, no, no. We need a larger number than 14. Yeah, that's it on the TikTok sale update.
I never understood what was the Biden's administration. The
So yeah, main I guess shareholder, whatever you CEO at the time, whatever you want to call them, had a base in China. So China owns a large amount of the entity of TikTok. And as you know, TikTok ain't it gets a lot of data information, and they kind of was basically saying that's a security risk for the United States, the Biden
Mhm, I remember that.
administration. So, and it's quite interesting because I just want to point out that other countries outside of the US owns a lot of business in the US country line. If you don't know,
Mhm.
China is like the number one farm owner in the United States.
Yes, they
And
are. Way
China
above Bill
owns
Gates.
yeah, China owns a lot of real estate, whether it's well, it's mainly commercial, but they own a lot of real estate. So there's a lot of money that China already kind of pours into our economy. I know a lot of people always say, "Oh, we owe them such a tax bill." They let it go because, bruh, they own so much of like some stuff that you won't even realize. And China doesn't just do that in the U.S. They're doing a lot of money investment in Africa, which a lot of other a lot of countries are. But it's just interesting that Biden administration, and I'm not even trying to get political because at the end of the day, I don't care about TikTok because I don't. You're not getting no data from me because I don't have TikTok. But it's just interesting that they drew the line at this TikTok corporation.
Yes, that's what I'm so confused on, because why? Why is it just this app because of China? And we're not political, we're not trying to get into any of this and all that, but when Trump took over and extended thing, I thought all of this was done. I thought all this was
Mm-mm.
done.
No, he
I
just
didn't know
signed
we
something to extend it out.
yeah, I didn't know we were still
Mhm. Yeah, and I'm not even gonna say that it's just TikTok because I know I live in Texas, and Texas just signed a law saying that China cannot no longer buy real estate in Texas, and I think they blocked them for something else. It is a little trinkle of stuff where they're trying to, and I don't know if this is the president's doing in backdoor deals or what. If he's telling the state authority people like, "Hey, block them out because it's affecting the negotiation on tariffs and stuff like that." I don't know. All of this is just speculation, but there is a
right, right.
slow agenda to block out investment from outside countries, and mainly it's China. So that's why I felt like this was a relevant topic for Tech Talk this week, just because of the ramifications to data and all. And I'm not even saying that's the main issue that the political of the United States have. That I'm not saying that's the only or even the main issue. It's the fact that you felt like China was getting too integrated and US citizens day to day and was gaining such information. What are you going to do with it? Like,
Yeah,
so
that's another thing I have an issue with. It's, oh, well, China's getting the data and all this. Okay, do you come at all these other corporations on the same scale of what they do with and
yeah.
with our data?
Let
I
me
mean,
just say this. If TransUnion or whatever them little credit things, if I get one more letter saying we had a data breach, blah blah. If I get, I am going to fucking lose my mind. Because at that point, why are you even holding my credit information if it's just going to be leaked out to the black web? Like, stop playing.
I'm so confused, but go ahead. Carry
Yeah.
on with this circus show.
Yes, but that's just the latest. Like I said, nothing has been approved by China, and it needs to be approved by China, or they risk the app, going offline again.
Going
We'll
bye bye.
see. Yeah, yeah. It, like, literally, you cannot get on TikTok for like 2 days until
You
the.
know what? I remember this. I remember when that happened because some people deleted the app off their phone,
Mm-hmm.
and there were iPhones selling for top dollar, 2, 3,000 grand. Because when they came back, you could not re-download the app for a while. So people who had the app still on their phone were selling their phone for thousands of dollars because of that. I do remember that happened.
Mhm,
That's
crazy.
great.
Yeah, but we'll keep following this story as it develops, and we'll see if China blinks or the US blinks first. Cause I'm pretty sure the whole delay is about the $14 billion number. Yes, listen, yeah. Anyway, let us know in the comments how you feel about TikTok. If TikTok goes offline again, are you gonna be lost in the sauce just like my aunt was? Or does TikTok, like myself, does not affect your day to day, and you don't even you be forgetting that TikTok is even a thing? Because I literally forget. But going into our next topic in Tech Talk, and I found this to be quite interesting. There is a rumor going around that Intel reportedly approached Apple about making a cash investment in the chip maker as part of its larger turnaround strategy. For those that don't know, Intel, since the relationship with Apple was pretty much cut, every Apple product had an Intel chip in it at once upon a time, and it kind of held back Apple's hardware because the chip was just so inadequate. And so Apple was like, well, if you're not going to push the limits, we'll do it for you. And so it kind of took Intel out of the market as far as their products, and it was a large part of their business. So they're kind of hitting a reset right now. This is just a rumor. It's in very early stages, allegedly, and there's no guarantee that a deal will even come to this. But I just thought it was interesting for Intel to approach Apple like, "Hey, give us some money, and we'll do something strange for a small piece of change," basically. Intel recently too got some investment from SoftBank and the U.S. government and some other company I can't think of. It starts with an N. So they've been kind of stacking money up for something. I just think they're in a financial pickle, and so they're trying to think of ways to, like I said, you got two options: make more money or cut expenses. And I believe they went through a layoff not too long ago too. My only question is, why what benefit will Apple get from this deal? Now, it's been reported that Intel is basically offering manufacturing facilities so they can and essentially make Apple chips for Apple. And it would diversifies Apple reliance on the TSMC for making their chips, and basically, chain supply chains incentives and stuff like that. And basically, I think Apple in a sense will have such a dominant control over the chip technology development real estate. So it was a very interesting rumor. Like I said, it's all rumors, nothing confirmed on either side. No, Intel or Apple hasn't went public with an official statement or anything that they're even in talks. But so this is just a rumor. But I find this to be very interesting. It has some ramifications as far as chip developers, because if they do this deal, I think Apple is going to pretty much gobble the market for chip making. You got any thoughts?
Ooh. I'm curious as to, as you said, what does Apple benefit after all these years? Because Apple left Intel a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a
Their
good amount of
relationship.
years.
Yeah, so like, why are you coming back? We've moved on. Like a old weather couple. What are you bringing back? Why are you offering these manufacturing plants, etc., to produce the chips, etc.? Is your bottom line being hurt that bad that you went crawling back to your ex in a sense
I think
because it's
so.
like, oh, but why? Well, no, you know what? I know why. And I was about to ask, why do all this? And this is an easier business deal and transition than rather than purchasing or an acquisition, because then that will probably, like you say, give Apple too much power, too much hold over the market. And then the government
Yeah.
needs to step in.
Just like with
And the government be like,
Microsoft and buying Activision, getting all in
yeah.
their business.
And with that acquisition, there were so many things leaked and so much stuff Microsoft did not want known that got known. I'm pretty sure Apple has many, many things in their closet. We don't need the government knowing, let alone the public sector knowing. So yeah, but I am just curious, just how bad is it
I think it's real
for
bad for Intel.
for Intel. And then it makes me think of like what you were talking about before, the layoffs, the push into the AI and everything. How desperate are you? Like you said, you do something strange for some change. How desperate for whatever it is
Hopeless.
that they're trying to get done. And like I can't fathom or seeing Apple with more authority and more just market share than they have. And it's like, do you really just want to give them that? But that's crazy. That's absurd.
I
Oh.
think, and this is just speculation, I think this is real. I think this was a real conversation that Intel has had with Apple. I'm in the belief that Intel was never expecting or ready for Apple to drop them as a chip manufacturer. So when Apple came out with the Apple Silicon, they were really caught off guard. And so once you have a cash cow, like, and then all of a sudden you don't, it's an adjustment period, and I don't think they've been adjusting that well financially. Like what I said constantly in the show, I think we about to hit some rocky years. And so a lot of these companies are trying to sure up funds and guarantee funds for X amount of years. So I think it makes sense for Intel to come to Apple like, hey, we'll do something strange for this piece of change. But I don't know if it's a benefit enough just for supply chain incentives and having some stuff, because Intel has a lot of US based manufacturing. And so that could be part of, Apple made an announcement that they're investing billions of dollars for the United States president, whatever. So they didn't have tariffs. They made a promise to invest X amount of dollars in the US economy, but they never go into detail on how they're doing that. So
Hmm,
maybe this is part of that. But even still, like
interesting.
I said, that could probably be a good enough reason for Apple to be like, all right, here, do something strange and we'll give you X amount of dollars. But other than that, I don't think it's a good enough deal, Apple, unless they getting some type of percentage. I don't know. But it's an interesting rumor that I don't think it's a rumor. I think it's real. I think it's very real.
Oh yeah, I don't see something of this magnitude being just hearsay. Now, what
Mhm.
I am shocked about is this coming out. This
Oh,
this this
yeah.
leak. This I'm sure this someone is about to get fired. There's going to be a mass sweep of emails, phone calls. Like, hey, who called this 870 number on company time? Who called this guy? I'm just, how bad could things truly be for Intel? And then at the same time, Intel, have you slipped that hard that you got to go back to your ex? And then, like you said, with
Listen.
the thing you said with the government as far as pumping into the economy, yeah, what is that? What are the details and whatnot's going on with that? Please let me know. Let all of us know for the little
Yeah.
guy in the back.
Yeah, are these gonna, trickle down into jobs, or is the rich just gonna get richer? Cause I feel like it's the latter. Cause all these announcement that's been going on with the President of the United States of these different big companies that are, quote, unquote, "based" their headquarters is based in the US, but yet they do all they manufacturing in other countries. They all say
Mm-hmm.
this big number, this B number, 1,000,000,000, 3,000,000,000, 15,000,000,000, but they never say what is that actually going to equate to. Are we getting $16 billion worth of job salaries? Are we, or like, how is this gonna benefit the average. And
I think I think it is a tactics game. It
yeah,
is a
yeah,
yeah, we're gonna throw up
yeah,
these big numbers and just we're gonna
yeah.
hold back and see how long we can quote unquote do all this until we can actually get something together or get something done or stall us out till his term is over and then we go
Mhm.
back to business as usual.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of "Hey, look over here so you don't notice this over here" type stuff going on.
Oh yeah, sleight of hand.
But yeah, that's the Intel Apple rumor. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is a real thing that could happen, or you think? But it's just interesting. I keep coming back that it's interesting because Apple Silicon literally shits on Intel's chips from head to toe. Like the amount of power that Apple chips generate, like they make everything overly powerful. Like the iPad, you don't need to upgrade your iPad because the chip is so damn powerful. You're not even fulfilling the chips benchmarks because you ain't got nothing on the iPad that powerful to test the chip out. So yeah, I don't know. I don't see how this makes sense for Apple, but we'll see. Only time will tell. But going
It's funny
into
you mentioned that because I have not upgraded my iPad since I originally bought it. I think I
You have
was
no reason to.
either
It's an
20 or
oversized
it was either
iPhone.
20 or 2021. Ooh.
Yeah, you have no reason to upgrade your iPad, like, especially if you got a computer, like, it's literally an oversized iPad I mean, iPhone, and that's why I don't understand why you are so interested in foldable phones, but going into our next rumor of tech,
Apple. Here.
Samsung Triphone is reportedly, and this is all speculative, it's coming out at the end of this year.
Ooh.
Samsung already publicly confirmed that the phone is a thing and that it's coming this year. But the rumor part is that they are suggesting that Samsung may unveil it at the late 2025 Unpack event. So, and they feel like it's going to be at the event because it could tie with the release of a XR headset and, kind of have them coexist and launch at the most money making season of the year, which is the fourth quarter. So, listen, I've said it multiple times. I'm not a phone type foldable phone person, but I understand that a lot of people get excited for foldable phones for whatever reason. So this is an interesting
Ooh.
topic. I mean
It's the
product.
new thing.
Yeah, I know.
In the era where all phones are the same except for the camera, I gotta reference back my sidekick. It's just something new. That's all it is.
Yeah.
In a sea of everything being and looking the same, it's just
Yeah.
something new.
Yeah, and I know we talked about this offline, but I just find it crazy that Apple decided to release the iPhone Air when it's heavily rumored that they are developing a foldable phone. I don't think it's try. I think it's just, fold once. But they released the iPhone Air instead of being the first, not the first, but the main phone company to have a foldable phone on the market. And so they're letting Samsung test the market demand first, I guess, because literally the next Apple event September is next year. So it'll literally be about 11 months, 12 months between releases of Samsung's Triphone and Apple's foldable phone. So I found that to be interesting that they said, "Hey, we're going to push our fold phone back. We're going to see what Samsung does." They only produce 50,000 units because they're not sure of market demand. So not even Samsung is sure that this phone is going to be a hit or not. So I guess that kind of highlights how still unsure these phone companies are of a foldable phone. And the biggest thing against foldable phones is the wear and tear over time in the screen, the little folding hinge and things like that. That could be very costly. Especially, you got Apple Care, you got all these insurance. So there's a lot of people hesitant on foldable phones still. We'll have to just wait and see. The event is very, very near, so we ain't gotta wait too long to figure out if this is true. I'm curious in not in the phone, because fuck the phone for me. I'm curious in the sales. Like who in the marketplace who is demanding a tri-foldable phone, let alone a foldable phone. So I'll be real interested in its sales.
You just don't see the appeal. Where's your imagination?
I have an
You know
iPad.
what
That's where it's at. It's in my
Okay,
iPad.
what you have an iPad. There's some people who feel, well, why do I need an iPad? And they're on a long train coming from work from downtown out to the suburbs. Hey, I want to watch a video. I don't want to watch it on this 7-inch screen. Oh, I can whoop whoop whoop. Oh man, now it's 10 inches. And they
Yeah,
can watch
so
the
that
video there.
that would make sense for those people, but I don't that it just wouldn't do nothing for my life. I'm at work or I'm at home. And so in between that, I'm going in between A and B. Therefore, I'm not on no trains. I'm not on no bus. Like this could make sense for somebody. It just doesn't make sense for me. And I'm not going to force it to make sense for me because I have a $1,000 iPad that I've had for 4 years and it's doing just fine for me.
Well, there you go. To each their own. I look forward to this. I want to see what happens with this fold with Samsung. Of course, like I said, it won't change anything for me because I'm deep into Apple. I'm not going anywhere, but I do want to see how it goes, and I'm sure Apple is sitting there looking like, yeah, let's see how this performs for you, and then we can take our notes and go for ourselves with our own.
Yeah,
But
but
let us know.
definitely yeah, definitely let
Go
us
ahead.
know how you feel about the Trice Samsung phone that is rumored to come out this year and it will be announced at the Unpacked event. Are you a Phone user, future user? Are you willing to give up the iPhone you have now for a foldable iPhone? Definitely let me know
Hell
that
yeah.
in the comments cuz does
Hell,
a foldable phone make sense really for you?
hell yeah.
It doesn't for me. It doesn't
Hell
for me,
yeah.
and I don't understand how it makes sense for you. You can't even use your phone at work, and so
uh,
you literally gonna be at home when you watch it, unless you like, your child's after school stuff. That's the only time I feel like it'll do something for your state of life.
Oh, damn, you know what? That's a great fucking point.
Mofo, see,
That is
listeners,
a
that's how you
great
know
fucking point.
I am frugal. You gotta earn the you gotta earn to, get my money. This mofo
That is
over
so
here.
true. That would mainly go unfucking used. But it's just I'm just caught up in the appeal, the thought of something different,
Something
something.
different, yeah.
That's what's got me because, like I said, they're all the same. From the Google Pixel to the iPhone, the Samsung, they're all the fucking same. Oh, this processor, Qualcomm Snapdragon, the M chip, all this. So it's all the same. Man. So to see something different, nice shake up to the market, hey, do what you got to do. That creativity,
Hey, yeah, we keep
Maybe,
saying we want these people to be
yeah.
more creative. I guess they are.
And yep, and that's true. They're like, hey, you asked for it, you asked something different. Here it is. So, people, I hope you show up. I hope you show up for this because best believe this flops. Don't you ever say nothing about phones looking, feeling, whatever a certain type of way because they're like, hey man, we gave you something different. You laughed at it. So, but let us know in the comments. How do you feel about the foldable phone? Do you believe it has some broader appeal to it that can be done? Are you like me and you're just missing that craving for something different in your life? Something that could just be, make you stand out among the rest in an age where, like I said, everything is the same.
You're right, but that was it for tech talk. Before we sign off, though, I do want to talk about one little thing, and it'll be real quick. Ghost of Yote is shortly going to be upon us. Its release date is very near in the future, and I just want to say I hope that it does good. I hope that we get a good product. I did see the
Reviews.
game. Yeah, it's already coming out, and people are kind of just wild and saying this is a generational masterpiece. Listen, I think the game will be good, but let's just hold on to our britches talking
Let's
about a
tone it down.
generational,
Tone it down, people.
yeah, a generational masterpiece, and it's 10 out of 10,
Just,
and 20 gaming
well,
companies, game review
well,
places have
well.
gave
Maybe
it
they're
10 out of
saying it's
10.
a generational masterpiece because this generation just ain't been shit.
Hey, you know what? When you're right, you're right. But the problem with that is that the generation includes Ghost of Tsushima. So let's
Uh,
pucker down, shall we? Let's pucker down.
yeah,
I'm
let's
very
calm it down.
excited. Definitely, but probably get a day and get in playing it before the next pod, hopefully. And let's just hope that regardless of the little rumblings are going around about there being no more stances and you switching
Thank
from different
God.
weapons and I looked at I did watch this one channel and and he of course he got a copy way early. And I was watching the scenes, right? I was very concerned that the world looks beautiful. Chef's kiss. It's always looked pretty. It's never not looked pretty, but it just looked empty still. So I'm really worrying the wildlife, like in the first game, was such an afterthought that it's still an afterthought in the sequel. Because I mean, looking at flowers is cool and all for miles and miles and miles, but I don't want to feel like the world's empty. Like besides of people you gotta take out. Like I really hope the wildlife is I'm just hoping he made some bad cuts and it didn't show the wildlife as much as it really is. But that's probably my only concern. I'm really questioning the Legends mode. If there's no more stances, they're probably not gonna have stance in the Legends mode. And I became such a pro at the stances because of Legend mode. I actually learned how to play the game by playing the Legends mode. It's just a little things I'm a little iffy about, but regardless of the fact that I will have the game, I will play the game, and I'm hoping nothing but the best for the Ghost of Yote. You got anything to add before we sign off?
I do. I do. I have one thing to add. It's not about the game. The game will do as it does. Good, bad, mid, between. It's all circumstantial. What one
Mhm.
gamer slash entertainer hates, another one enjoys. I want to make an announcement that listeners, viewers, if you enjoy the show, like, comment, subscribe. Give us your feedback. The more you give to us, the more we give to you. But I want to make an announcement. We have a new show coming, a more smaller, digestible show going to be called Let's Talk, but still done by gaming duo, leaders of Are You Not Entertained? We look forward to sharing you with you. And once again, give us your feedback so that we can give back to you. That's all I got. And that's it for this video of Are You Not Entertained podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll never miss our next hot take. Until next time, are you not entertained?